So you've been on record as saying that you had a lot of nightmares as a kid that you still remember pretty vividly, and they went away in junior high, but you still scream in your sleep from time to time. Where does that come from?
I don't know. I don't remember. I mean, I'll have a nightmare from time to time, but it's not like how they were when I was a kid. When I was a kid, they're like horror movie nightmares. And that might be because I was exposed to horror movies way too early. But what they are now is they're just super weird. And it's more of a feeling than an event. It's more of like a sense of doom when you know, oh, this person I'm talking to right now is about to change. My kid just got run over by a car. Those are my nightmares now. When I was a kid, I remember one nightmare where I dug up some sacred stones in my backyard. There's 3 of them. And once you dig these 3 stones up, that's when the dead people come alive. And I realized it in the moment that that's what it was. And I looked down my street and there just was an army of dead motherfuckers marching toward me. And, that was so scary. I just never lost that memory just because it was very, very vivid and impacted me somehow. I was like, what the fuck is this all about?
So did you ever analyze it to be like, I think that this is associated with like this trauma or something like that?
No, not really. I don't give too much credence to the messages in dreams. Just let them do their thing. Your mind is in defrag mode at that moment.
Yeah, they say, because I have a degree in psychology, and they say that a lot of times your dreams, you have some people that say that it's like your self, your consciousness coming in, but other people say that it's like your brain is trying to make sense of the storyline by weaving in the things. That's why it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's like the original AI.
Right. Right. That's true. Right. It's like you, I mean, I'm sure you've had it happen plenty of times where like a person in the dream becomes somebody else out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Well, my dreams, which I found funny that other people said this is not common, but often in my dreams, I will become different characters within the room. So I'll have one perspective, and then at another point, I'll be another person with their perspective, talking as them and acting as them. So it's like, you ever see the show Quantum Leap?
No, I haven't.
All right. So this guy just leaps in, like he'll figure out someone's problem. And then when that problem's all figured out, he automatically gets quantum leaped into another person.
Oh, wow.
So now he's a new person. He has to figure out their situation and fix whatever's wrong with them. That's kind of what it's like, but it's not like that. It's more in the same room.
Do you ever have lucid dreaming where you're aware that you're dreaming and you can control what's going on?
I can't. Anytime, there was only one time I was able to do that when I was a kid. I realized I was dreaming. I was in my classroom and I said, I can do anything I want right now. I'm going to punch Alan in his face. And Alan was like, this wasn't his real name, but Alan was the nicest kid, like the sweetest kid. And then
so you were the bully?
I wanted to do like the most ridiculous thing, but I didn't do it because I felt bad. And then then you lose lucidity at that point because you're not doing what you want. That's the only time I had it.
So you end up going to college to pursue an associate's degree in communications and a bachelor's in journalism, minoring in public relations, right? This is where you get the radio show on WRIU called True School Sessions, right?
Not at first. The first college I went to was Dean College in Franklin, Massachusetts, and they had a radio station called Power 88. That's quite a name if you know about white supremacist terminology. So 88 stands for Hitler. I'm not saying that, but Power 88 is like white Power 88. They had a strictly no hip hop policy. And I was a straight A student in that college, and I only went there well, first to play football, but I wanted to be on the radio, and I wanted to learn not just their radio. I wanted to be on radio for a career, perhaps.
Wait. So did you get a scholarship to play football?
No, because I came from like a D division high school.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So although I was like all state linebacker, it didn't prove much. So the coach was like, play a year with us. We'll see, if this translates to college, and then we can talk about the scholarship. And then after double sessions, I said, fuck this shit. I was like, fuck this shit. I was like, I'm paying all this money I wouldn't be able to get any of my schoolwork done. I'd be too tired. Mm-hmm. So I just gave up on that dream. But yeah, so I did the college radio thing, and then I ended up getting a lifetime ban from their radio station. And my college professor, who knew I was like a star student, he was so disappointed in me because it was my last show with them. And rather than playing every song they told me I had to play, I just played whatever I wanted. And I talked over every song, and I rapped over Walk This Way, and just made a joke of it because it was like midnight to 1 a.m. I didn't really think anyone was listening. And then some fucking dweeb ratted me out to the teacher, and then I got in big trouble. But yeah, so he was like, "You set college radio back 100 years."
I'm sorry, but that sounds like some white thing to say too, though.
Yeah, totally, totally. But that school sucked. I hated it, but I just wanted to do my studies. I remember I lost my girlfriend of 4 years when I was there, and that was crucial to what my career then became. She had actually given me the name Sage. I had taken that name from her because I would read her all my lyrics, and she'd be like, "Damn, kid, you're a sage." I said, "What the fuck is a sage?" So I had to, she was a book reader and she knew stuff. I had to look it up. But I was certain that.
Wait, she meant that like burning the sage?
No, like sage? A wise man sage.
You, okay.
Like top of the mountain, white beard sage. But when she broke up with me, that shattered me. Anything that I identified with and my whole ego is just dissipated. And I went through a very, very tough time for a very long time. Again, I became very withdrawn. I became very angry. But the college professor who was disappointed in me, in his class, he gave us an audio assignment where we had to use tape to tape to record something and involve music with voiceover. And I recorded a song called The Right, which was to her. And it was a very heartfelt breakup song. And he had a no hip hop policy, but it was so well put together with a crummy setup in a studio that just was not conducive to the kind of things that I was doing. But since I had been doing this kind of stuff since I was a kid, it was like I was in Candyland, having access to different types of equipment. So I did very well with that grade, but I drove, and she was still in high school at the time. So one day I drove to her high school.
Wait. You got to clarify the age difference, because you know how people are going to run with narratives and stuff.
Yeah, we were a year and a half in difference.
Okay, yeah. Just saying,
and like I said,
how people are.
Yeah, I was the youngest kid. I was the youngest kid in my class. So I went to her school, waited for her to come out with her new boyfriend, and I coerced them into my Jeep. I said, "Listen,
it for him too."
Yeah, I said, "I want you guys to listen to this." So I put the tape in, played the song, and you can hear the song. It's on one of my Sick of mixtapes on the Bandcamp. I think it was on Sick to Death. I'm not sure, but it sounds crummy because I had a like third or fourth generation dub of it. That's all I have left. But I played it for them. And when all was said and done, it was like, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Remember me, remember me, remember me, remember me. So that was my big gotcha moment. And she goes, is that it? Is this over? I was like, yeah. And I looked back at the other kid. I said, take good care of her. In retrospect, I feel very cringy about it. But in the moment, in 1996, I knew was like, now everything I do, I'm going to do to try to impress you and win you back. And I eventually did. Like 10 years later, after Personal Journals had come out in 2001 or two, and when the Nonprofits album came out, the Hope album, that's right when it happened. And we reconnected. And I helped her move out of this dude's apartment. She was still with the same guy. Yeah. So, I just obsessed over her. I felt like the one who got away. I was like, I'd never be complete without her. I just constantly wrote about it and thought about it, and I felt incomplete. I felt awful. I changed myself. I changed a lot of things about myself. I tried to be very overly kind. Like I knew I was an asshole. I wanted to be a better person and work diligently on being a better person. And by the time we got back together and I moved her into a new spot, I was already touring a lot. But there's only one time I stayed at her spot, and I felt something in me that I knew was wrong. I felt revenge. And I felt like, I want to fuck you up the way you fucked me up for so long. And I told her that. And I said, I'm sorry. Like, we can't do this. I was like, I just feel vindictive, and I know it's going to come out in bad ways.
Yeah,
and
it's not a good feeling to have.
No, and she didn't deserve that. She didn't deserve any of that. She was correct to leave me when she did. I tell her that, like, we still on birthdays will message each other, and I'll always tell her, I'm like, yo, you were so correct in what you did. And I am so sorry for like certain ways I acted, like I had control over you or something. I was just a very insecure, angry kid dealing with a confusing situation at home. And you were my best friend. And I felt like losing you, I had nothing after that. So I dedicated my entirety to music and spoken word poetry since then. And, yeah, so we're on good terms now. In fact, she has a wife now. So,
wow.
Yeah. So that worked out in her own way.
So we can title this that you turned her lesbian.
I don't know if it was me, but that's a whole other story. It's not the only time that's happened to me.